Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, the Frugal Ify. So a few days ago, I released a video on my 2019 review, so all of the things that I'd achieved last year and the 2020 goals that I'm hoping to achieve this year. And they cover things that are professional, personal, and financial. And it got me thinking that actually it would probably be a good idea if I share some financial goals that you can all try and introduce this year to help you become more financially secure. These are all things that I've introduced over the last few years that have helped me build towards security. So hopefully you find them useful. Here goes. So if this applies to you, one of the first things that you can try and aim to do this year is to pay off your credit card. If you are carrying a credit card balance, debt that is maybe a little bit overwhelming or is bigger than last month or this month's spend, I would recommend making a conscious decision and making the effort to pay that off and to cut out any more spending and just clear that balance. I would then say, in order to help you not repeat that mistake again, to set up a direct debit that clears the balance monthly so that you can still use the card for purchases. You may be getting benefits from it, but it will stop you from falling back into debt if that's your circumstance now. So the next financial goal that you may want to try and work towards this year is building or increasing your emergency fund. If you follow Dave Ramsey's advice, you'll know that having an emergency fund of at least £1,000 while you're paying off debt is what is recommended. If you have no savings at all, I would then definitely recommend that you try and start building towards £1,000 emergency fund. If you already have that, I recommend working towards having 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in your savings account as an emergency. If you're already covered for 3 to 6 months, shoot for 1 to 2 years just to make sure that you are incredibly financially secure, and that if anything comes up, you know you're not going to have to borrow in order to deal with that circumstance. If you're in the UK, I highly recommend opening an ISA account to protect your money from any tax that it may incur. Depending on what you're saving for, if you have a big purchase coming up, you're hoping to buy a home or something else and you'll need the money fairly quickly or fairly soon, you may want to look at an easy access cash ISA. On the other hand, if you're like me and you're investing money for the long term, a stocks and shares ISA may be the best option for you to get the best returns, although there will be more risk. And then just depending on your circumstances, you may want to look at a mix of the two. For the 2019-2020 tax year, we do have a £20,000 allowance. I don't know what that's going to look like for 2020-2021. Please note, I'm not a financial advisor. I do recommend that although you're watching this video, to go and do further research. I'm just giving you a very high level idea of what you could do with your money. I'm not giving you any hard and fast advice. So just that little disclaimer there. Don't blame me if you lose some money. So because I've just mentioned the fact that you could open a stocks and shares ISA, this is a good time for me to mention that this year may be a really good year for you to look at investing in the stock market. Saving money is incredibly important, but the way interest rates are today with our banks, people are getting very, very poor returns in traditional savings accounts. A lot of people are now looking to invest their money to get better returns, to grow their money, and to get passive income from dividend payouts. If you're interested in getting the benefit of compound interest over the long term, I definitely recommend looking into individual stocks, ETFs, index funds, either inside an ISA wrap or outside if you already have a full ISA and you prefer not to go down that route. I also then recommend, if you are going to look to invest, not to put your emergency fund into your stocks and shares. You've got to make sure that you keep that money separate. If you're going to be investing, you need to look at this as a long-term strategy, at least a minimum of 3 to 5 years. I personally am looking at 10 to 15 years, but I can do that because I can actually divide my money, and I'm putting in such an amount of money into my stocks and shares account that I don't require the money. So if I have an emergency, I will never need to tap into that pot there because I've made sure I have enough over here in my savings account to keep me covered. So just again, if you are going to be looking at investing, make sure that you still have an emergency pot, an emergency fund set and ready and set aside. Please don't mix up the two. This bit of my hair does not want to behave. So another financial goal you can set for 2020 is to start a side hustle to try and increase your income and introduce a new stream of income. In 2020, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of ways that we can make an extra income online and in real life. You just have to be creative, think about your skills, think about gaps, think about things that are pretty easy for you to do or things that you want to learn. In the past, I've set up dropshipping businesses on Amazon and eBay. I've sold secondhand books on Amazon. I still do that now, and this year I'm actually hoping to scale that back up again and find the time to just get myself back into it. My brothers have started photography businesses and lead generation and digital marketing businesses. YouTube may be a side hustle for you. I mean, I know now that the new YouTube rules are such that it's very difficult to get monetized and it's quite a slow burn, but just throw yourself into it. I'm just starting out, and although my major aim is not to get monetized this year, I just want to kind of develop and make content and improve and feel more comfortable doing this. Eventually, I hope it will become monetized and it will become a stream of income for me. So definitely look at introducing new streams of income. Let's definitely look at increasing the amount of money that we have coming in. And because it'll be extra money, we can either use that to pay down debt or save and invest more. So it's a win-win. So 2 financial goals in one that you could look to do would be to first track your spending for a month, 3 months, 6 months. Basically take a period of time and commit to writing down everything you purchase every single day for that period of time. Tracking your spending will help you understand your relationship to money. Do you spend when you're bored? Do you spend a lot of money on clothes? Is eating out more of your bad habit? How do you spend your money and where does your money go? Once you've been able to track your money for a period of time, you'll be able to see where you could potentially cut out some spending, where you may need to introduce some discipline and make some improvements. Once you then know where your money is going and what your outgoings are every month, you can then move to the second point of this combined goal, which is to set up a budget. There's no point you setting up a budget that's pretty arbitrary, that you won't be able to follow because you forgot about that bill, that expense, that thing that you quite like to do that actually you don't want to cut out, and if you don't budget for, suddenly you're going to be in debt to yourself. So I definitely recommend then setting up a zero-based budget so that you can tell your money where you want it to go, and it'll help you with any other financial goals you may have of saving and investing, etc. So the last financial goal that you may want to consider for 2020 is actually increasing your pension contribution. So your employer may offer a workplace pension, and I hope that you're all maximizing the employer match and putting in the maximum that you need to in order to get the maximum from your employer. If you're not doing that, please do increase your contribution because you don't want to be leaving money on the table. So if you're already doing that, I highly recommend calculating what impact it would have on your final pension pot if you increase your annual or monthly contribution by 1%. In the last year, I've actually increased my contribution beyond the maximum required from me by 1%. And although it's a relatively small amount in a month, over the rest of my working career, it's actually going to have quite the impact on my final pension pot. So I highly recommend looking into whether you can afford to do it and whether it's worth it for you, because I think that when we're 65, 70 or 80 or whenever the government's going to let us retire, you'll look back and thank your younger self for doing your older self a favour. So those were 8 financial goals, I think 8 goals, I'm going to have to go back and check, that you may want to consider in 2020 if you don't already have your goals set for the year. Please drop down in the comments and let me know if you're going to be picking up any of these financial goals, if you'd already made that decision, or if you've got goals that are outside of these recommendations. Please do let me know what you're hoping to achieve financially or otherwise. If you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up, and as I always ask, please do subscribe. Okay, until next time, thanks, bye.